You're in tune to Galaxy Radio, www.galaxyafui.com. And this is the Let It Go and Live show with Zemora. Transforming you from the inside out. And we have a wonderful guest in the studio with us today, Sister Zindika Kamausi. I probably used
Kamausi.
Kamausi. Yeah. I'm going to get it right at some point, sis. I'm just practicing.
Practice, yes. Practice make perfect.
Yes, our family, please do welcome Sister Kamausi in the house. So, Sister Kamausi, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, Sister Zemora.
Good morning.
Thanks for inviting me onto the show. And I must say a good morning to all the listeners as well. And a special big up good morning to the Galaxy family, Galaxy community, because I know there's a big Galaxy community out there. I've met quite a few of them. So good morning to all of you. My name is Zindika Kamausi. I gladly go by just Zindika. And I am a writer, a playwright. I am a speaker and a spiritual teacher, and I am an inspirational book coach, a success book coach. Mm-hmm. So, Sister Zenora, I'm on the Zenora show, the Sister Zenora show. Fantastic.
See, now I've got to learn your name. When you got Zemora.
Zemora. I'm on the Sister Zemora show. Wow, it's fantastic. I'm loving it. Yeah, I was really looking forward to that, to coming here. Yeah, I'm always happy, to come and talk about meditation. I'm always happy to come and talk all things spiritual. Because for me, I feel like if I'm doing that, then I am on purpose. I'm following my purpose. And if I can help people to do their best in life, if I can inspire them and can influence them and encourage them to live their best life, then I know that I'm on purpose.
Yes.
And I've been on purpose for a long time because my purpose and passion has always been writing, always. And that's why I know I'm on purpose, because I wrote my first book before I was a teenager, when I was about 10, 11. Wow. That's when I wrote my first book. And that's how I knew that writing was my passion. And when I say I wrote my first book, it wasn't just a few pages. I mean, I wrote a proper manuscript type book. I never showed it to anyone, by the way, but I wrote it.
What is it entitled?
That book was called Pigeonhole, and it was on a subject of the alienation of the teenager, really, and it's something that I'm still exploring, because I think I explored that again in my most recent book, which is called Black All Over. I've explored that theme again, the whole idea of going through that very difficult period in life, which is being a teenager and coming of age. So I think that is a theme that reoccurs all the time in my writing. And so I said, I've always been a writer, and I've written 6 books, and I'm an author of 4 plays.
Wow.
2 of my plays were full-length plays developed with the Black Theatre Cooperative. This was at the end of the 90s, I think 1996, that sort of time. And then I also worked with a very big African dance company that was around at the time. They were massive. They were called Ajido Dance Company. And I also did a collaboration with them. And I actually wrote 2 plays with them. And that the way those plays worked was that they incorporated it within their dance. So my plays were running through their dances.
So it was a musical?
It was musical, yeah. Wow. Yeah, it was the dancing and the storytelling. It was the storytelling. So I did the storytelling part of the dance. And so that's where my playwriting expertise comes in. And in fact, a lot of people best know me as a playwright, because they may have seen my plays from the 1996 or the 90s when they were out. And one of my plays was actually published, because sometimes when you do a play, once the run of the play is over, you might think sometimes think, oh, it's forgotten unless you revise it. But the nice thing is when you have your play published, because then it's always there. And my second play, which is called Leonora's Dance, was actually published by Methuen Press, and it was in a book called 6 Plays by Black and Asian Women. And that's still out there, because I went to a theatre the other day, and I went to a couple of bookshops, and I saw that book there. So it's good to know that book is still there on the bookshelf.
Wow.
So as I said, my purpose has always been writing. I've been writing for such a long time, and my other book that I wrote, which again is very much to time as well, because my friends, some of my friends call me a futurist, meaning they think I'm a bit ahead of my time, because I wrote this book called When Will I See You Again? And I was amongst the people to start thinking about the whole experience of Caribbean migrants, but to specifically focus on the children, the experience of the children, because most people tend to focus on the adults coming over as migrants. So I, in that book, really focused on that. And the good thing about that book, it wasn't just my voice, it was the voice of many people, because we did research and interviews, and lots of people wrote their own stories within the book. So therefore, it broadly represents a lot of us, and it was what a lot of people were talking about at the time. So I say it's timely now, because obviously we know what's been happening more recently in the news with Windrush and the whole backlash, and the way in which we feel that people who came here as children, like myself, we were under attack from the state in terms of the whole immigration procedures, what they call the hostile environment. Yes. That's been around and still is around. Don't think it's gone away because it's not in the news. When things are not in the news, it's just in the background. Don't think it's gone away. Yeah, it's still there on the back burner. So that's what that book was about. Really giving voice from the point of view or the perspective of the people who came here as children. So I call myself a child migrant. And child migrants have a particular and unique experience, and that's why I felt it was important to explore it in that book. And I've gone on to explore it in further book, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But I'll tell you another thing about as well is that my second passion, I said my first passion is writing, and always has been. My second passion is, of course, meditation. And I love it that I'm on your show, because that's what you're about. And you're about letting go. And I'm definitely about that, letting go to move on. Mm-hmm. It's difficult to move on if you're carrying baggage. So you really have to let go. Again, meditation was something I came to by accident, in a sense. Although sometimes things you need come to you. Sometimes you're not sure if you come to it or it comes to you. But it's probably about 30 years ago that I first discovered meditation, and it was after I was at a loose end in my life. Maybe I'd finished university, and I was thinking, it's that stage where you think, is anybody going to employ me? I was feeling pessimistic. Yes, my dear. Yes, my dear. I'm a woman.
Absolutely no way.
I'm a woman of many seasons. And many sunrises and many sunsets. No. As we say, nature doesn't have time. Wow. What nature has is sunrise and sunsets, and nature has seasons. So according to this, I'm probably 200 and something seasons. Or more.
Well, I'm telling you, if you see our sis, you wouldn't even...
Yes. Okay. Yes, I mean, yes. So, as I was saying about my experience with discovering meditation about 30 years ago, and it was in London when I was somewhere in central London, around the Covent Garden area, and I was actually wandering around, feeling a bit pessimistic about my future, being down on myself, thinking, nobody likes me, nobody's going to employ me, what am I going to do? Poor me. And getting down and depressed about the whole thing. But one of the things I've always loved, because being a writer, I love books. And I'm always the sort of person, if I go into a bookshop, I get an immediate lift. people might have that in their life. They may have something that as soon as they do it, it just gives them a little bit of a good feeling, yeah? And that's what bookshops do for me. Whenever I go into a bookshop, I just feel a bit better about things and about life. And so I was wandering around that area in Covent Garden, and I happened upon this bookshop. And I saw the window, and in the window were books, and there were certain things like candles and the sort of thing that attracted me. And I thought, so maybe I was already in that space, I was thinking about it. And I thought, wow. And I thought, of course, it's somewhere I'm going to have to go into. So I went in through the doors, and as I got in there, it was a great... in fact, that bookshop is still there. I didn't even realise it was still there. And it hasn't changed much. And inside was just packed full of books from ceiling to floor. And then, of course, there were also crystals and candles and, those sort of things, which I immediately related to. And immediately I felt at home in this bookshop. And then they had a downstairs, and they went downstairs. And downstairs, again, the same thing, packed full of books from ceiling to floor, really, just shelves and shelves of books. And so I just thought, I went downstairs. It was sort of a bookshop. It was a fairly relaxed place. And I sat on the floor downstairs, and I just went through as many books as I could. I skim read as much as I could, I mean, just to get a gist of what these books were about. And of course, that's where I then discovered that there was this thing called meditation, or it gave a name to something that maybe I always felt and probably was doing. And then I read through some of the books in a quick fashion, and then I actually ended up buying one book, and it was called I Am That. And it's actually by one of those, those Asian gurus and yogi men who talk about their life and how they reach enlightenment in life. And again, that book spoke to me. Why it spoke to me? Maybe because of where I was at, the place, what I needed. Like I said, did I come to it or did it come to me? What I needed at the time. And then really, so, I mean, I read that book and then went on to educate myself by reading lots of other books. Because when I step into a bookshop, that's what I find. I find in bookshops you have knowledge. And at that time, obviously in those days, we didn't have internet and that sort of thing. People nowadays are lucky, you've got internet. At your fingertips, you can find anything out. So in those days, you had to find a bookshop and you had to go in and you had to read a book to get all that knowledge and all that information. Anything I wanted to find, I had to go and consult a book, which takes a bit longer. So that's how I started to develop my love of meditation, and also just to start to share it with other people. And so since then, I've actually gone on to then, of course, putting up my own video channel with meditations on it, and doing my own meditation blog as well. So that's all online for people, and I know some people know about it already.
Yes,
and they've
give out
actually
the details.
so it's my website is called meditateandgrow.com. So it's all the W's, and then it's meditateandgrow.com. So the idea is